Would you fly on in for a September 11 deal? What about some cereal to cope with the Boston Marathon bombing? These are the most offensive ad campaigns.
Okay, if those two are real, we're already 9 seconds in, and I'm already going, holy shit. This should be interesting.
Ever. In 2011, Mexican restaurant Hacienda rented this specific billboard, on which they'd referenced the Jonestown Massacre, where cult leader Jim Jones had killed his entire following by spiking their Kool-Aid with poison. So what did the restaurant's billboard say? We're like a cult with better Kool-Aid, and their drinks were apparently to die for. Hacienda's VP of Sales and Marketing explained, "Our role is not to be controversial or even edgy.
That we're gonna be controversial and even edgy. Oh, this better end with the marketing department manager was fired. Holy shit.
We want to be noticed, and there's a difference. We have a responsibility to advertise with care, and that's why we're pulling this ad. We made a mistake and don't want to have a negative image in the community."
Newsflash, too late. You wanted shock value. I bet that's what a lot of these are gonna be. We're going for shock value, and we're not thinking about the consequences beforehand. I'll bet you that's what's going on.
Yet this wouldn't be their last controversial billboard. 5 years later, in 2016, the restaurant made another reading,
"The best Mexican food this side of the wall,"
which quickly went viral on Reddit, sparking outrage. Really disappointing.
Well, yeah, it's... well, I don't think that place got shut down for that ad. They pulled, because I think that was a franchise. But it was definitely... And notice for shock value, people have been doing this for years. This is not a new advertising tactic to shock potential customers into noticing them and trying to get them to go, huh, I wonder what that's about. But now people are, when you take real life tragedies and try and spin that into your advertisements, I can't remember if that might have flown 20 years ago, but it's definitely something that doesn't fly today. Even, and this is not even, oh, they're just being hypersensitive. It's like, no, you're talking about a cult leader who killed dozens of people because he was a religious nut job. That's not something to promote. Point blank.
Pointed Hacienda continues to push past what is acceptable for advertising. Not a fan of most of their billboards, but this is just too much. Hashtag take it down. Others showed their support in comments such as this one, yet unlike their previous billboard, Hacienda says it has no plans to apologize for or remove the ad.
I will say, the best Mexican food this side of the wall, I honestly don't find that terrible. The fact of the matter is, there is a border. There is a physical border along Mexico. Hello, along parts of Mexico. There is. Saying that this is the best Mexican food this side of the wall, I'll be blatantly honest, that's not that terrible. That's not... There's nothing offensive about that. It's saying this is the best Mexican food you're gonna find outside of Mexico. This is someone with no dog in the fight either way. I'm in Canada. I don't give a shit about the border war happening between US and Mexico. I don't care. So, looking at it from that outside perspective, I don't see anything offensive about that advertisement. I really don't. That sounds like that sounds like a collection of people that are just hypersensitive. And you're gonna get that. Now, the one before that about we have better Kool-Aid, that one, yeah, you're talking about someone who killed someone. That's something you don't joke about. This is fine. there's nothing wrong with this, honestly, in my opinion. It's just saying, you know, you're only gonna find better Mexican food in Mexico. Nothing wrong with that. Perfectly fine.
Ads. Their vice president explained,
We don't intend to upset anybody, but we do use humor.
and Lee's Discount Liquor applied a similar strategy. Alcohol, it's cheaper than therapy. If alcohol is not the answer, change the question. You look like I need a drink, and perhaps so did the people who tried to get the billboards banned.
Alright, so a couple of these. Alcohol's cheaper than therapy. It's not great, but how many people, individuals, have made that same joke? It's not that big of a deal. Is it kind of tasteless? Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's kind of tasteless. But so what? That's a joke. You don't have to like it. And you could say, yeah, it's a tasteless joke, but that's no big deal.
Cheaper than therapy. If alcohol is not
This one, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't think it's that funny. I do think it's a bit leading in that, oh, if alcohol is, obviously their business is selling liquor. So obviously they're trying to, the obvious thing is to steer everything in the direction of liquor. So if alcohol is not the answer, change the question. Again, yeah, it's a tasteless joke. It's not funny. Is it worth getting into an uproar over? No. It's not. It's just they need to re-examine their PR and marketing departments.
the answer, change the question. You look like I need a drink.
So you look like I need a drink. This just doesn't make sense to me. I'm trying to figure out if this is trying to say the owners of these discount liquors are saying, you are so ugly, I need a drink to make you attractive, or I don't even know, because that's the only thing I can think of, is when someone says, you look like I need a drink, immediately makes me think of, you as a person are so ugly that I need a drink in order to make you look attractive to me. I need you to be pretty drunk. Which is kind of stupid. You're insulting, at that point, you're like insulting your customer base, which doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me, honestly. So this one's just stupid. They definitely need to look at hiring a better PR person. Yeah, that's the only takeaway I can get from this, is like, this guy is saying, hey, you, down here looking at this billboard, you're so ugly, I need to drink so you look pretty. That's what the takeaway from this is, which is stupid. It's not offensive. But they definitely need to hire a different PR person, because they're doing a shit job at these billboards. They're not doing anything to encourage me to go and purchase from Lee's Discount Liquor. Specifically. I don't give a shit about Lee's Discount. Hey, you look like you want to be so drunk, I want to... No, it's not that. It's this feels like the saying that you have, I've heard guys say this before, drink till she's pretty. Meaning, there is an unattractive girl, so you're going to drink a whole bunch of beer or liquor and get so drunk that even though she's quote unquote ugly by their consideration, because you're drunk, she's gonna look pretty. That's what this feels like. You look like, parentheses, you look like you're so ugly, I need a drink to make you look pretty. Which again, it's not offensive, it's just stupid. That's it. it's just stupid. And I really hope they get a new PR person.
And perhaps so did the people who tried to get the billboards banned. Take down billboards stating Lee's Liquor is cheaper than therapy. The owners of Lee's Liquor has failed to remember the implications of alcohol regarding DUIs, broken families, and when people...
And I knew this was exactly the road they were going to go down to. This is the problem with, this is one of the big problems with modern day socialization. Everybody's taking everything to extremes. And we may very well see that again in some of these other ones. Nobody can just say, okay, that's a tasteless or a joke, or that's a stupid joke, like I just did, and move on. Everybody, so many people need to be perpetually offended by everything. Which is why we see all the stuff we're seeing in, like, Hollywood and games. Everybody's got to be perpetually offended by something. They can't just go, you're an idiot, and let it go. Because if they... Instead, they get, oh, well, by saying alcohol's cheaper in therapy, what about all the DUIs and broken families that were caused by alcohol and people commit manslaughter when they're on the... It's like... Okay, number one, don't blame the liquor store. How about looking at the individual who did that? If they're an alcoholic, then maybe they need to work on their illness. Maybe they need to work on their alcoholism. You can't go blaming the liquor store for the actions of a person. And that's exactly what they're doing, is because these, I guess, Miss Paul Rhodes here started this, because she can't go after the people who did do these, or maybe she's too scared to, I don't know. She's going to go after the business that sells the alcohol. And again, those billboards are not driving people to drink. They're not that bad. They're both not that influential, and they're not that stupid and terrible that they're gonna cause them, they're gonna drive someone to drink because they're so bad. They're just stupid billboards. They're tasteless, and their PR department needs to hire someone new for their marketing.
Commit manslaughter. Lee's Liquor owners think this is funny, take this billboard down. Various comments agreed, such as, this is irresponsible advertising. You can sell alcohol without crossing this boundary, whereas the humor was liked by others. Hey dude, get a life, it's a very funny sign. I wish we had more signs in Vegas like this. If you don't like the billboard, go back to Utah.
And yeah, I personally agree here. This part. This first part. Hey dude, get a life. Yeah. His part, it's a very funny sign. No. It's not a very funny sign. It's pretty stupid. But yes, get a life. All the other comments above, there are people that are terminally online. They live to complain and protest online. That's where they find meaning in their lives. Yeah, and honestly, yes, and honestly, I don't think it's an offensive joke either. I don't really find it offensive. It's not targeting a specific person. It's the kind of joke you hear from the idiot at a party that thinks he's funny when he's not. And that's all I'm getting from it too. It's not offensive. And yes, these are people that cannot take a joke because, again, these are people. We're talking about people that are perpetually offended. They basically live their lives in constant by being offended by literally everything. That is how they define their lives, by being perpetually offended by everything. And that's no way to live a life. You will not have a life if that's how you live it.
Lee's Discount Liquor ran their own Billboard controversy poll, which found that 77.2% of people called the ad clever and not offensive, yet this didn't stop a mandate to take the billboard down. Even worse was a business card shared to Reddit reading, "Are you an alcoholic? We can help," although they weren't offering counseling, but rather an alcohol delivery service.
Now, this one is bad taste. This one I will say is they pushed it too far. This is where they pushed it too far. Making a joke about, go liquor to set up therapy, making a bad joke there, things like that. Okay. Now they have pushed it too far. Now I'm gonna call it out and saying that they pushed it too far. Because this is serious. Alcoholism is serious. And that's not something to make light of in this way. So, you know what, Lise? I was on your side. I thought you were neat. I thought your jokes were terrible and you were kind of stupid. But I was on your side, but now you've lost me. You've now lost me here.
In all seriousness, I assume it's just a bad translation and meant "do you enjoy alcohol? We can help," but yeah, really should have run that by a native speaker first. In that very same year, British supermarket Tesco found them.
Ooh, anyone from the UK in the chat? This one's for you. The Tesco in the UK. Yeah, exactly. Cool. I mean, that one, it would have been good, and I believe I've seen some bigger companies do this, where if they actually put out something that says like, "Do you have a problem with alcohol? This is this is a number to call for help." Like liquor companies will actually say, "Here is help if you need it," and yeah, though that one, yeah.
Themselves in the infamous horse meat scandal, where one of their burgers was found containing 29% horse meat. Well, only 2 days after the scandal broke, Tesco tweeted, "It's sleepy time, so we're off to hit the hay." See you at 8 AM for more Tesco tweets, and the replies weren't too pretty.
Okay, that's kind of fun. I will say that's kind of fun. In the context of this was 2 days after they found that there's 29% horse meat instead of beef, and they say we're off it. That's kind of funny. That made me chuckle.
You're hitting the hay? Well, I suppose the poor horses don't need it anymore.
Oh, for
Maybe
fuck's
hitting the
sake.
hay wasn't the best choice of words right now. Plenty of room on the hay now that we've eaten all the horses.
Well, and this was all the way back in 2013. This was back before all of this shit really hit the fan in like 2014 and 2015. Although this was the UK, maybe things were starting to tick up there back in 2013. Wow. This is like... Really? You're getting pissed off about this? Just have a chuckle once in a while. It'll be good for you.
Horses. Tesco responded by tweeting, "I'm terribly sorry. That tweet was scheduled before we knew of the current situation. We never intend to make light of it, and in case this wasn't bad enough, Tesco then had to scrap a segment of its latest advert as it was due to include images of a horse. The horse was apparently said to be used in a humorous context, but while Tesco was simply a victim of bad timing, recipe website Epicurious was a victim of bad thinking, because after the Boston Marathon bombing, they'd post 2 insane tweets. In honor of Boston and New England, may we suggest whole grain cranberry scones. Boston, our hearts are with you. Here's a bowl of breakfast energy we could all use to start today."
Wow. This is just stupid. Like, seriously. How hard is it just to put out a tweet? Apparently, This is stupid on a level that I didn't think was possible. Because here's the thing, it's not like they weren't making light of the situation per se. They were just being completely tone deaf. And they were using a tragedy. They were using the tragedy for marketing. Like, this is scummy. This is really scummy. And I've never even heard of that Curious. I'm wondering if this shut him down.
The tweets were quickly shared to a media training website which wrote, "Get your legs blown off by a terrorist? Try these scones. Lose a cherished friend? Maybe this bowl of breakfast energy can help," which then turned into articles by Mashed and Business Insider, as Epicurious was labelled by the public morons, idiots, dickheads, and pathetic.
All very reasonable labels and probably lightweight, I would say.
The company responded with a copy and paste.
I truly regret that our earlier food tweets seemed insensitive. Our hearts and prayers with the people of Boston. Sure they are. We truly regret that they're just repeating it over and over and over again. Oh, so they're copy pasting so everyone in their company is copy pasting the same goddamn message. Yeah, that's gonna go over real well and show that, yeah, you really are, your hearts and your prayers really are with them. So your heart is so heavy from this that every single one of your, I'm guessing, executives every one of your executives copy and pasted the same fucking message into their own Twitter account. Holy shit, wait. Unless these are supposed to be victims. Or are these the people that sent those tweets earlier? Hang on. No, I'm wondering if I'm wondering if these now are victims, or if they're people that, yeah, sure, you can send me after we finish this one up. It's, not that long. We've only got about 7 minutes left. So yeah, I'm wondering if these are people that have tweeted pissed off at this company, and this is them responding. But it's just copy paste, of course. It's company, so of course copy paste.
Apology, leading to more criticism reading, "A repeatedly tweeted template apology isn't genuine. It's a form letter. The steady stream of identical tweets does nothing to engage with the audience and express human remorse."
Well, that's probably because it was a bot. They probably used a bot to send off those tweets. They probably set up a bot, so to recognize anything bad being said, would immediately respond with that.
But were Epicurious's tweets as bad as Kenneth Cole's? Millions are in uproar in Cairo. Rumor is they heard our new spring collection is now available online, although the uproar had actually come from protests in Egypt, where 846 people were killed. Kenneth Cole quickly apologized before making the same mistake only.
Really? Honestly, these PR... what school did these PR people go to? Because that school should be investigated for what the hell they're teaching their students. Because, Jesus. Like, there's, like, shock value, and then there's taking human tragedy and using it for advertising. Like, this is disgusting.
Only 2 years later. In response to the Syrian civil war, he'd tweet, "Boots on the ground or not, let's not forget about sandals, pumps, and loafers," sneakily advertising.
Alright. That one's tasteless. But it's not as bad. It's not great. It's definitely not great. I don't think it's as bad as making light of what happened in Egypt. Seriously, like these PR people are so fucking stupid it defies description, honestly, sometimes.
His new line of shoes. On a public billboard, Kenneth mocked the Hudson River crash landing, but at least he had the decency to avoid
Oh my
September 11th.
Well, I will say that that Sully and the Hudson, nobody died. He came out a hero. You know what? I'm actually okay with this. You know what? That's honestly fine, especially because at the bottom, I would have liked to see this part in much bigger letters. I really would. This is fine. Sully landed the plane in the Hudson. He's a hero for what he did. Nobody died, at least not that I'm aware of. And they made a little joke about it. They are not the only ones to make a joke about Sully landing in Hudson. Because they're not disparaging him. They're not disparaging Sully. They're not, making fun of him. They're making a bit of lighthearted humor about what happened. And in right below it says, "Thank you to the pilot's crew and New Yorkers for what you did." There's nothing wrong with that. I don't see it. I don't see any problem with that. The only thing I could see is make this text a little smaller, make that text a little bigger. That's it.
The Hudson River crash landing, but at least he had the decency to avoid September 11, unlike this TV commercial by the Worldwide Nature Fund. It began by explaining in 2001, one of the worst tragedies in the history of humanity killed 2,819 people, before showing a bunch of other planes to articulate that in 2005 the tsunami killed 280,000 people. That's 100 times more deaths. The message of the ad was that our planet is brutally powerful, yet it felt like they were minimizing the severity of 9/11.
Yeah, I already know exactly where Sonny's going with this. You can't stop. The planet is an unstoppable force. This was the effect of terrorism. And I hope that God, Twitch doesn't ban me for that. I don't approve of it, Twitch. I'm not saying I approve of it. It is very, very bad. But I mean, this was an act of evil. It has nothing to do with the planet, which is unstoppable. Well, yeah. Exactly. It's not as much comparing. Here's the thing, music. It's not so much even comparing disasters, because with this tsunami, with that tragedy, that was a natural disaster. What happened here was an attack, a deliberate attack by humans, something that could have been avoided. With a tsunami, you can't avoid that. There's nothing anyone or all of us can do about a tsunami. Maybe in 100 years, technology will have improved to the point that we can prevent something like that from happening. But not now, and not for at least 100 years or more. You're trying to compare the two is an apples to orange comparison. The only Satanness is they're both fruit. In that, in both cases, unfortunately, people lost their lives. That is the only similarity between the two of them. Trying to compare what happened here with a tsunami is a false equivalency at its highest regard. It is 100% a false equivalency. So, again, they knew that bringing this up first would shock the shit out of people and steer them into the mindset of, I wonder what they're going to say next. Because that's the whole purpose of shock advertising is, what are they going to say next? And you draw in your viewer and you get eyeballs on your advertisement. It's just like with hate tweets. It's just like with hate watching videos. The goal is to shock and anger you so you keep your eyeballs on them to see what they're going to come up with next. Well, I think what they were doing there, Kaboom, is they were comparing how many planes it would take to crash into New York to equal the amount of lives that were lost by that tsunami. I think that's what they were. I think that was the goal of throwing in a whole bunch more planes. Like, okay, X amount of people lost their lives in the towers on 9/11. This is how many more planes would have needed to have basically hit New York to equal the amount of lives that were lost during the tsunami. I think that was the comparison that they were going for. Why they suddenly threw like 20 more planes onto the screen, just screaming at you. That would be my guess. And I mean, this event is one of the most. This is probably a poor choice of words, but allow me to explain. Probably one of the most sacred events in North American history and in world history. And by that phrasing, what I mean is, it is something that happened that you do not fuck with, that you do not make fun of. It is an event that occurred that should be remembered it should be remembered in its raw format because of how horrific it was. It shouldn't be used in a comparison like this. And it wasn't in this case, but it should be used for things like humor. It should be used for advertising. This was a tragic event that should be left the fuck alone because of its tragedy. You know what? I don't know, Kaboom. It does seem like they were trying to compare damage with the throwing additional planes. That's exactly what it feels like. They're trying to compare what the damage was what it would take to equate the level of damage and loss of life that the typhoon caused. Yes, that absolutely feels like what it was.
11 to highlight a natural disaster that couldn't have been avoided. Not only is the message offensive, but it's scientifically flawed. All the carbon reductions and recycling in the world won't prevent tsunamis. Advertising double failed.
Correct.
The commercial was so offensive the WWF tried to claim it did not authorize its production or publication.
Someone's telling a bit of lies, I think. I suspect someone's telling a bit of lies and backtracking like crazy.
Yet there was another 9/11 ad that was somehow even worse. It began to circulate in September 23rd.
Okay, music, I'll see you. Thank you once again for stopping by, and I'll see you again next time.
And showed a man flying toward 2-foot-long subs, which you could buy for a price of $9.11. The ad was captured.
And here we go. Perfect example of what I just said. Perfect example. You do not fuck with 9/11. Especially in America. You do not fuck with that. Because that is a day that, while it is, because it's over 20 years in the past now, it's not as revered on the day in question. I have not heard about any significant 9/11 memorials occurring each year for the last several years, but it's still something that is considered a day of reverence, not a day to slap advertisements on. Am I surprised that Subway doing this? No, they hired Subway was more than happy to employ a PDF. So it doesn't surprise me one bit that Subway decided to do this. Between hiring a PDF and their bread being classified as cake, this doesn't surprise me a bit.
With 2 pieces of text. Fly on in for September 11th, and you will never forget this deal. But was the ad actually legitimate? Well, no. It was the work of satirical news site The Onion.
Oh, I just got played. They got me. The Onion got me. The Onion, 100%, they just got me.
which wrote from the structural steel melt on Tower 7 grain bread to the Twin Towers cold cut combo with ground zero carb vinaigrette on Let's whole wheat roll. We've got something for everybody this September 11. Despite clearly being a joke, a man named Travis tried to cash in on the deal, printing the ad to bring to his local Subway, which they unbelievably accepted.
Is that a good coupon or no? It's a good coupon? It's good? Okay.
He and his friend were totally baffled,
Dude, I can't believe they did that.
even showing their receipt to prove they hadn't lied. If the coupon itself wasn't hilarious enough, the fact that Subway accepted it as a legitimate
I now have questions. Although I suspect the employees, they probably didn't know and they probably didn't care. They just wanted to make the guys their sandwich because one thing to remember with these fast food restaurants, they get people coming in there every day with some bullshit coupon, many of which are expired. And they say, I want to use this coupon. And when the response is, I'm sorry, sir, ma'am, this coupon's expired, you can't use it, they will go into a frenzy. And some of these people will even go over the counter at these employees. And these employees do not get paid enough to deal with that bullshit. I'm concerned on if it's real, if you may believe it. I'm seeing other information proving that you could work there. The guy, well, I could believe it because, like I was saying, these employees do not get paid enough to deal with these Karen-esque customers that come into their business and throw a shit fit over the smallest thing to the point that they will go over the counter and attack people. And so right now, a lot of these employees at these fast food places, if you hand them something that shows a coupon, they'll just say, fuck it, and give you the discount. Because they don't get paid enough to deal with this. They don't get paid enough to deal with someone going 8 because you wouldn't give them a discount on a bad expired coupon. So I honestly could believe that, and I don't fault the employees for that. I don't think that they're being gullible or anything like that. I think they're just like, okay, let's just get this guy's food and get him the fuck out of the store. That's what I think. I mean, it definitely, seeing the ad without seeing the text surrounding it from The Onion, yeah, that ad got me. It did. Now, if I'd seen the page with all the text, that might not have been. Yeah, exactly. In fast food, things can be done wrong. You can. People are human. People make mistakes. And if you get a wrong order, sure, you can go up and say, "Hi, this got done wrong. Could you make me another one, please?" And I'd say 99.9% of the time, the employer will go, "Absolutely, no problem." But too many of them, because we've moved into a time in society where it's all me, and if something isn't done perfectly, there's hell to pay, and I'm going to go over the counter because you screwed up, or I'm going to scrape my head off at some poor person working for barely minimum wage. Yeah, the employees are like, you don't pay me. The employee, the workers are going to be like, I didn't get paid enough for this shit. And they're not going to argue. And plus, they're also told not to argue by management. They're told that if a customer throws a shit fit, don't argue. Just give them what they want and get them the hell out. So, yeah, I believe that I could believe that the Subway actually did it. That the guy doing it is not an employee. I could believe it.
coupon had me rolling on the floor. Subway, however, wasn't impressed. Like everyone, we are deeply offended by the fake story and ad created by The Onion. The story received coverage in a Sydney Morning Herald article, which highlighted another 9/11 deal that was instead completely genuine. The now closed Tumbledown Trails Golf Club in Wisconsin posted this newspaper ad reading 12th anniversary of 9/11. To commemorate this, we are offering 9 holes with cart for only $9.11 per person, or 18 holes with cart for only $19.11. The owner of the course said the golf club began the promotion 2 years ago on the 10th anniversary of the attacks, and until now it had been warmly received as a way to ensure people never forgot.
Yeah, well, Kaboom, to your statement about hiring someone then pretend to fire them. No, because it's only, all that does is you're sending the completely wrong message, because now you're telling said Karen, yes, she has legitimate power over a business to hire and fire employees. You don't want her to even think she has that kind of power, or he or she has that kind of power to be able to do that. So it's a bad idea. Honestly, I wish more, managers at stores would stand up to Karen to tell them, shut the fuck up and get the fuck out. If you don't like it, there's the door. Don't let it hit your ass on the way out. If more people stood up to them and told them to get out and then had them arrested if they decide not to play ball, we might see a decline in this. Now, as far as this goes with this, I'm not sure I have a problem with this. Because they're actually,
Got the tragedy.
let's see. There we go. Oh, too far.
Had been warmly
Let me see if I can
received
time
as
this.
a way to ensure people never forgot the tragedy.
There we go. So, honestly, I don't foresee this as a problem, especially because they did it, they started it 2 years prior to this, and people were okay with it. And it's not like they're making fun of it. They're not doing, yeah, the pricing's a little clever, being 9/11, where you get 9 holes of golf with the cart for $9.11. But honestly, I don't see a huge problem with this, especially by the fact that it was warmly received. If they tried this and the people said, this is bad, we don't like this, we consider this, disrespectful, and they continue to do it, okay, then I could see them, okay, people were not receptive to this, you need to stop. But if people were okay with it and they decided to keep doing it, what's the issue? They're not, it's not like they're doing a stupid quip or anything like that. They said to commemorate the anniversary of 9/11. And this is the 12th anniversary, so this was 12 years ago. So, by this point, commemorations and days of reverence had really thinned out for 9/11, I believe. There were still some, I'm sure. There's always, I think there will always be, for the foreseeable future, on 9/11, there will be some kind of commemoration every year. That's not going away anytime soon, but this was 12 years ago from when this was on. They started it at the 10-year mark, and people were okay with it. This is, I think, a bit of oversensitivity.
He'd therefore add we're a little hurt by the fact that people are
And here we go. They received death threats. This is becoming way too common. You don't like something, you issue a death threat. That needs to stop. That needs to start. That needs to get nipped in the bud, because we're seeing it all the time. We're seeing it to this day, where somebody posts a fucking tweet and they get death threats for it. And it's not even anything bad. I still remember, it wasn't that long ago, there was that one streamer No, sorry. It was Grums. Grums posted something. I think it might have been about the Stellar Blade thing. And someone actually posted a response tweet to where everybody was talking about Stellar Blade, basically saying it was either like $20,000 or $30,000 to make Grums go away. Basically posting a asset, posting an open contract on someone's life. And then this idiot streamer, because Asmongold reacted to it on his stream. And so this other streamer, I forget her name. I forget her name, and I frankly don't care what her name is. Was reacting to Asmongold's reaction. Inception there. She said, "I'll double the number." Now, a lot of people took this to mean she was, was meaning Asmongold. I never thought that. I figured she was basically just one-upping the guy who put the open contract out on Grums, and said, I'll double the number to make him go away. But she laughed about it. She considered it funny. I don't find it funny. Death threats are not funny, because people in this day and age of doxing, of going through multiple methods to find out someone's home address, and actually going through with it, there are a lot of unhinged people right now, a lot of them on Twitter, and people will take them seriously. Someone sees that, they'll take it seriously. Yeah. It is like this is a serious problem where people are totally online, and we see it way too often where somebody's making a death threat, and that needs to stop. Like, that needs to get reined in real quick. Elon Musk needs to rein that shit in on Twitter fast. I know he wants it to be open for everybody, but you know what? There's freedom of speech, and then there's actually making a threat on someone's life, which is not protected by the First Amendment. As much as he would love it to be, the First Amendment does not protect you when you make a threat against someone's life.
Putting such a negative context on this. I thought people would appreciate it. It seemed the owner at least had some good intentions, although so did these three companies when they used hashtags incredibly wrong. Sweets company Entenmann's wrote, "Who's not guilty about eating all the tasty treats they want without realizing not guilty was trending due to Casey Anthony's trial for the murder."
Okay. I'm not going to fault Entenmann's for that, because who the fuck is following all the goddamn hashtags? Then I'm not faulting Entenmann's for that right there, because they probably didn't even realize that hashtag was trending for her. Because hashtags can be used over and over and over again for 50 million different things. So I find no fault with Entenmann's.
Baby. They'd respond by tweeting, "Sorry everyone, we weren't trying to reference the trial in our tweet. We should have checked the trending hashtag first."
Oh boy, let me check the trending hashtag. Not like anybody. Stupid.
Fashion brand celeb Boutique wrote, "Hashtag Aurora is trending. Clearly about our Kim K inspired Aurora dress, although this wasn't exactly true. The hashtag was trending due to the Batman movie theater shooting, which killed 12 people in Aurora, Colorado. We are incredibly sorry."
Again, I'm not going to fault them for this. A hashtag can be used 100 different times in 100 different ways. You can't go faulting companies that are trying to do an advertisement using a hashtag, and it happens to coincide with something else happening. Like, if you're getting your news from Twitter hashtags, you have a problem. There are so much better ways to obtain your news than by looking at Twitter hashtags. That is the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to anything news related.
for our tweet about Aurora. Our PR is not US based and did not check the reason for the trend. At that time, our social media was totally unaware of the situation and simply thought it was another trending topic. We have removed the very insensitive tweet and will of course take more care in the future to look into what we say in our tweets. Then there was Di Giorno's Pizza who wrote,
This one I heard about, where this hashtag right here was in reference to domestic violence, and why people were basically sharing their stories of why they stayed with their abusive partner. And Shimano posted this, and unfortunately the timing is, it shouldn't be, but it's kind of funny. But they posted this around the same time a lot of people were posting why I stayed hashtag stories. But again, if DiGiorno did not know, and here's where I'm a little skeptical, because this is not a hashtag I would normally see. I don't know if they had a campaign. I don't think they had a campaign going at the time for, staying in to have DiGiorno pizza. This one, I think, could possibly have been DiGiorno trying to jump on this hashtag. It's entirely possible they may have tried to do something scummy, like trying to jump on this hashtag, because this is not a phrase that is commonly used. The Aurora or the Entmans one, those are kind of commonly used hashtags. This is not, at least as far as I'm aware of. So this could be kind of suspect. Honestly, I could be a little suspect in this one. Yes.
Hashtag why I stayed, you had pizza, which was a hashtag started by women explaining why they stayed in abusive relationships. Unsurprisingly, the company then tweeted 1 million apologies, did not read what the hashtag was about before posting, and to their credit, they spent the entire day responding to every complaint authentically. All social media experts, please take a lesson from Di Giorno Pizza. When you step in it, you give real apologies and not excuses. Good job. However, Home Depot never got the memo, as they'd do the exact opposite. After posting a tweet which produced the article, Home Depot apologizes for racist game day tweet, terminates agency responsible. So what did the tweet say? Which drummer is not like the others, attaching a photo that showed black people next to a monkey. You could argue it wasn't that bad given it said, which drummer is not like the others, although it's hard to know what Nivea was thinking when
Alright, that Home Depot one. It was pretty stupid. And yes, they rightly fired the agency that was responsible for it. Yeah, it was pretty stupid. It was.
Headlining an ad with the words "white is purity." The campaign was so wild people didn't believe it was real, although others tried to argue that the world was overreacting. Is the US so obsessed with race now that the first thing Americans think when they read white isn't the color but race?
Yes. I will very simply answer that, yes. The US is so obsessed with race now that when they read white, they don't think the actual color, they think Caucasian. That is, now, and this was 7 years ago, so yes, 100%, that's the way the US has gone. No, it's not everybody. There are still people with sanity, but way, way too many of these activists, they hear white, the first thing they go to is race, and they're ready to attack almost immediately, which is sad. It's why the US has kind of become a joke to the rest of the world, the way that they're behaving in this way, honestly.
People, stop seeing everything with identity politics tinted glasses. Then there was this ad by Bic Pens reading, "Look like a girl, act like a lady, think like a man, work like a boss," which was hilariously designed to celebrate Women's Day. People didn't appreciate it. If it's quite alright with you, Bic, I'll look like a woman, act like a woman, think like a woman, and work like a woman, and you can F right off like an idiot.
Good response. I like it.
To make matters worse, Bic had launched the Bic for Her pen range 3 years
For
prior,
fuck's sake.
which had already
Yeah, and are they going to charge double the price like they do all the rest of the women's things that are identical in nature to a man's?
been
That is a thing, by the way. They things like razors and shavers and it's the woman tax thing. It's real. They'll have two identical products. One will be marketed towards man, colored in, the marketing coloring is going to be for man. The other one is going to be for woman, colored and marketed for woman, and they will increase the price of the one for women. It's insane.
slammed as sexist.
And they're just like regular pens, except they're pink, so they cost twice as much.
Yep.
That is absolutely true as well.
Well, at last, pens for us ladies to use. Now all we need is For Her paper, and I can finally learn to write. I was so disappointed to find that only 1/5 of the pens I received were pink. Or maybe more, I can't do maths. These pens fit perfect in my hands, but hubby feels they are unnecessary since he writes all the checks. I'd explain more, but I have to go make him a sandwich.
Jeez. That's some lovely shit posting right there. All right, let's see. Second. Yeah. All right, let me take a look at this real quick. We'll probably, if this is something I can watch, we'll make this the final of the night.
In Albania, they came up with the best.
Alright, I'll put this on screen. This looks interesting. Slot 13. This is we'll do this to close out the stream today. Well, with shampoo, here's the thing. With shampoo, that is to a degree different. Some of the more basic ones, yes. But there are a lot of shampoos out there that are designed to work with women's hair because of the varying product that women use in their hair, the instruments that they use, curling irons, flat irons, etc. Their length, the thickness of their hair. Women generally speaking, have thicker hair than men do. So with shampoo, it's different. Same thing with soaps. Not all, but some soaps there's different formulation in there for women. For extra not conditioner, moisturizing in there. But things like razors. I have known women who, instead of using women's regular razors, will actually purchase men's ProGlide razors and prefer them because they work better. So there's I saw once upon a time, I forget the program that I watched, where they had two little toiletry kits, and they had pretty much the same thing. I think there was a small little travel size shaving cream gel, travel razor, just a straight blade kind. I think toothbrush, toothpaste, just a basic little travel kit. And the women's, it was one for men, colored and marketed for men, one colored and marketed for women. And the women's travel kit was priced about something like 15 or 20% more expensive than the men's. So, I mean, the women tax is very much real and in play. Alright, so kaboom, let's take a look at this little short. Lost Wallet, the best advertisement for a pizzeria. Okay, I am intrigued. You have my attention.
In Albania, they came up with the best advertisement for a pizzeria. Flyers with advertisements were disguised as a lost wallet with euro bills sticking out of it. The flyer is simply left on the streets. People pick up and see the menu of the pizzeria.
You know what? That's cute. I like that.
Euro bill disguised as a lost wallet with euro bills.
That's very clever. That's actually very clever. The one thing that I will say is that it is been a littering because people might not pick it up, people might know about it, so there is the risk of littering, but I do think that's I do think that's a really cute way to advertise your pizzeria. It's actually very clever. I like it.